Once again, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Managing Outlook. My name is Marites Macapagal, and I came from the MTA Organizational Design and Development. We are the computer training team. So today I'm just going to cover managing Outlook with you. And to start with, I am just going to share with you the screen about the learning objective for today's class. So for today's class, participants will be able to create rules to move email effectively and minimize emails in the same conversation. We're going to learn how to manage outgoing emails by scheduling a later time, delaying them, or recalling them. And of course, I will go over also how to group and sort messages. And finally, make efficient use of your calendar feature to simplify setting up a single and recurring appointments. Okay, so those are our learning objective for this afternoon. Now, allow me to just stop my video so you could focus on the sharing I will actually do, because I will be using the screen to demonstrate to you and to show you the different step. Okay, so I will see you again, but you will be able to hear me. There you go. Okay, so as I've mentioned, right, our first topic actually is to organize our inbox in Outlook. So there are ways to organize your inbox in Outlook. And first is Outlook uses folder to organize messages. Okay, so second, Outlook uses rules to sort your email into folders. And third, plugging an email in Outlook. So I'm just going to go over each one of them and talk more in details of the folders. How do I organize using the folder? Where can I find a folder? And how do we create a folder? Okay, so those are the things that we're going to tackle for now. Now, before we start, some of you uses your Office 365 Outlook. Okay, and some of you who are using other devices or using other computer uses the app that we all have. So all of us have access to that Office application, and that's the Office 365. If you are familiar with my apps, that's where you could actually get access to your apps. But let me just minimize this and start sharing you my screen, and let's start with our first topic, which is to use a folder to organize your email. So as I've mentioned, okay, I'm using my actual Outlook. So Outlook provides folder in which you could save and store items you create. And you could access this folder by using the default view within the folder pane in Outlook app. Now, what I have right in front of you right now is actually my Office 365 Outlook. And if you look on the left side, this is my pane, right? See this? This is my pane. Down at the bottom, okay, you could actually access the folder here by clicking on the folder from the navigation bar menu. This is what you call the navigation bar menu at the bottom. So you notice I have the different icons in here where I have also the calendar, the people, and of course the tasks, and there are three dots. When you click on the three dots, you will see folder as one of the navigation options. Okay, so when I click on, yes, yours is on the side. Correct. You're right about that. You click on the folders, and on the folders, right? So you could actually be able to see now all of my folders. You say, ooh, Maritas have a lot of folders. Yes, I do have a lot of folders. Some of them I have overutilized. Some of them I have underutilized, which I'm going to show you later on. So that's the Office 365 app, right? So that's when you are actually using the Office 365 desktop version. However, the other my app for email, let me just minimize this and get my other apps. Give me a minute. This is not my apps, but I'm just going to get it and move it over. Okay, there you go. You could actually see it. Let me just close this. And this is my app. Okay. And in here, you notice how the look is quite a little bit different, right? But I could still see the folders. Look at the heading here called folders. And when it's expanded, you see the arrow right in front of it to be pointing down. And this shows all the different folders and the different content. If you close it, and it will actually just close to hide some of the folders on the view. But this is what you call my apps that you could use. Now, and you say, oh, I'm using both version. I do use both version. There are some cases that I prefer to use my apps, and there are other cases that I prefer to use Office 365, especially when it comes to creating some rulings, because I have more options in it. So this is where you could see the different folder. Now, mind you, let's take a look at some of my folder in here as I scroll. You see some of them have different headings right there. And it's arranged alphabetically. As you could see that all of these are right there until I reach the end. And at the bottom, if you wanted to add an additional folder, you could say create a new folder. So you could create a new folder in here. But there's other way also of creating folder. So this is my app. And compared to my Office 365, this is where you could see the folder that when you click on folder, it will show you. So notice it's the same folders, only on the different way of viewing it. Okay, so let me bring back to my email. So how do we actually organize our email in those folders? So there are different ways of doing it. So first, I could use the very common drag and drop. You know how we use copy and paste, cut and paste, and we use the drag and drop options? You could still use the same option, the drag and drop. You could also use the option use copy to folder or move to the folder option. And the third one is we could actually move or copy using the clipboard. You know, when you use a clipboard, you use the shortcut Control C, Control X, and wherever you wanted to paste the message, you could say Control V. Those options are also possible. So, and if you wanted to work on it in multiple ways, right? When you wanted to select multiple email and put it in one folder, you could actually do so if using the shift or the control button to select them and be able to move them all at the same time. You know, I like moving my email not using an automatic feature, simply because I wanted to review what are the emails that are coming in. And if I don't have time to read them now, I'll just put them in a folder and then go back to it later and be able to read it. So that's just not to clutter my inbox. And that's the purpose of what I'm doing. Now, take a look at here. Sorry, I have some of you I know are already in and have actually joined me this afternoon. And you could see your registration right on my mailbox, right? On my inbox. So, and this is, of course, my Office 365. Now, let me just show you again in here where I have my apps. And I tell you that they are also the same. People are also in here. So notice I have those who enrolled in managing Outlook. Now, if I wanted, normally, any one of you who registered to my class, I automatically get a notification that you enrolled. I don't delete it, but I keep it. So just in case you would say, Maritas, did I register? I could always look back at my list and I could always check if you have registered already for the class. So in what I do is I kept a folder for Outlook, which you could see is right there. So what I do is I click on each one of them, I select, and I use the control key. So these are the recent ones I received since I last updated. And there you go. I have 5 of them. And I could simply drag them, or I could right click on them and take a look. I could say use move option. And when I move, there's the folder for Outlook. You see that? So when I select Outlook using my left mouse, all of them will be disappear from my inbox. But when I look at my Outlook folder, they are actually moved there. So I did not lose any of my email. I was just organizing them according to the topic or the class that I'm going to cover. Okay, you understand? So that's one way of doing it. So you could do it, in a quick way. Again, I use the control button to be able, to be able to select multiple items at the same time, so I could do it 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, so that's when you wanted to work with multiple messages and be able to move them. So you could use the shift key if the email are adjacent to each other. Again, you could also use the drag and drop, right? So let me use on the other one where I have my Office 365. If I would like to move, I'm just going to select my folders once again. And here are my folders. And I have here, let's say I wanted to just simply put some of my emails. Let me take a look. What could I move here? So I have this TWU local 100, and you see I have the TWU folder right here. So I could simply just also drag it over to TWU. Okay, there you go. And it disappeared from my inbox, and now it is in my TWU folder. So that's also another way of doing it. Beautiful, right? So, and remember also the other option that I have told you is to use what you call the copy and paste or cut and paste. So if I have, for instance, I have this for the IT, and let me see. Oh no, I'm going to use another of my email that I have. And okay, so okay, so I have this WebEx event cancellation right there. So if I would like to select this, I selected it. Okay, and you notice I could say copy if I could copy it, or I could use my option. How do I, after you select it, you could always use Control C or Control X. So if I say Control C to copy it, and I wanted to move it to my uh, folder that's all about canceled classes. Okay. And I could say, and put here, and I could say Control V. You see how I was able to move or copy that, because I said copy, not move, from one folder to another. So that's basically how you could actually use those options and organize your folder. Now, what if you would like to move a new email and you don't have a folder? You definitely could actually create your own folder, right? So if you wanted to, this is another way of moving things. So for instance, I have my Chronos. I have Chronos right there, and I have Chronos right here. So if I right click on it, and I would say I would like to move this, okay, so it would not clutter my inbox. Take a look. There is the move option, and in my move, I see all of this. I see Chronos, so all I have to do is select Chronos, and there you go. It disappears and it goes to the Chronos, folder. That's how quick you could actually move that. So you right click on the email item and select move, and it will actually move quickly. You could also be able, now what if the folder is not available? So let's take a look. So let's say I would like to create a folder, and I wanted to create a folder for, let me see. Now I have this, let me see if I'm going to come up with something. Okay, this is my MTA employee communication, and I would like to put them in one folder so I could review them later on. So and I don't have any folder for MTA employee communication. So what I could do is when I right click on it, I could always say move, but since I know I don't have any other folder, so I would always say other folder, and notice how it will open a move item dialog box. And in here, under my name, under my email address, I will create a new folder. And I will call it MTA Employee Communication. Okay? In that way, it will actually be able to create a new folder for me under that name. Okay? So then I would click on OK. And that's now the MTA communication. And when I click OK, take a look, that disappeared from my inbox. And now it is in my newly created, folder. And if you take a look at your folder, it should actually be there somewhere arranged alphabetically. Okay, so that's basically how you create a folder if you do not have a folder to be able to organize your email. Now, let's go to the other option. So as I mentioned earlier, okay, so we could use folders. We could also use rules to sort your email into the folder. So what rules are we talking about? We could use what you call the inbox. Can I repeat how to move a group of files to a folder? Sure. I could do that. Okay, I'll go back to it, but give me a minute first. Okay, I will go back to my mailbox. Okay, there you go. Okay, so take a look. I am just going to do something. So for instance, I would like to move, I'm just going to make up some things. Okay, I would create um, hmm, Transit Museum. Okay, so you see I have here um, an email from Transit Museum. Okay. And let's say there's another Transit Museum email. Is there anywhere, somewhere I have another one? Let's just pretend, oh, there's a TWU. Let me see if I could just use up or move some of my files. So let's say I would just have, okay, I will just use my the Transit Museum, and I am just going to use also the MTA New York City Transit option, assuming that I would like to, these are just, for instance, coming from MTA New York City Transit. Okay, so you could just, you see those check marks before it, you could just select them. Okay, if you are using the Office 365, since there's no check mark, because you are using the Office 365, bahak. Take a look at my Office 365. There is no check mark. But how do you select? You select, you use the control key to select another one. You see that? And that's the use of the control key. You understand? Since you don't have the circle, those circle icons are only available in your My App version of Outlook. Okay, since you don't have it, you using the desktop Office 365. You select the item one by one by using, and to select them, if that there are non-adjacent, you use the control key. If I am selecting emails that are next to each other, I could use the shift key. You notice if I start from here and select from here, all of them will be selected. But of course, I don't want that. I would rather select one at a time and group together those emails that I would like to send together. So if I get this and I wanted to also, what did I say? I will use this one. I will use the control key. So I have both of them as New York City Transit. So these are MTA New York City Transit. And if I right click now, I could move them all at the same time. So I would say move, and there's my MTA employee communication. I will put both of them there. See how fast you could actually do it. So you could do the same thing, only the views are quite different. Got it? Did I answer your questions? Okay, so keep on putting your questions in the chat so I could see them. And if I could swing it, I'll swing it quickly. Okay, so now let's go to the other one, which is about the inbox rule. Now, you could create an inbox, just like what I mentioned earlier. Some of the email, I would rather not have an automatic feature working because I'd rather see them, the email first before putting them in the respective folder. However, if you are the person who's really too busy, believe it or not, there are people who receive almost 100 email every day, and you just wanted to automatically be able to do that. Okay. I'll answer the question, Kevin, about the focus and the other tabs. Okay, but so if you are a type of person that gets thousands of emails every day, hundreds of emails every day, and you wanted certain email to automatically go to a folder. So, for instance, look at this. I'm always getting email from MTA employee communication, and I'm sure you do. And sometimes I don't have time to read it, but I don't want to say close it, open and close, that I would not be able to read it again. So I could actually create a rule to be able to do so. So right now I am in the Office 365 desktop, correct? Right there. So if I right click on it and take a look at the options I have here. So down here at the bottom, okay, so you always have the options here about rules. You see rules? I could create the rules and say create rules. So this dialog box will open up. When I get email with a selected condition from MTA communication, there you go. Okay. So all of the emails with a heading coming from, or emails coming from MTA communication, what do you want to do? Do the following. So you're making your own rule. You wanted to display it in the alert window? No, I don't have time to do that. Or do you want to move to play a selected sound so you hear the sound? So no, that's not what I wanted either, but I want to move the item to a folder. So you notice the moment I press move item to a folder, the list of folders pops up. There you go. And since I know there is an MTA communication right there, I would select that. So which means these MTA communications, once it gets into my email, will automatically go to that folder. Okay, because it's a rule that I have created. So when I do that, I simply click on OK. Okay, and click OK again. So from now on, you see that the rule MTA employee has been created. Run the rule now with a message already in the current folder. Since there are folders with MTA communications that I have not put in, if I say run, all of them will actually go to that MTA employee communication folder. And there you go. All of those will automatically go. And that's the rule, and that's an automatic feature. So kind of like creating a filter. Yes, Kevin, it's just like filtering, but it's an automatic move. It's more than filtering. Okay, so that's what you could do. Now, if you're using the app, can you actually be able to also create those rulings? Of course, if you are in the app, you notice up here there is a setting. See that setting? So in the setting, you go all the way down and view Outlook settings. And right there, you could actually go to mail and select rules. And you could add a new rule. So then you type the name of your rule, and then you could also select the condition that we do. The conditions are all the different options that you have, and select the action exactly the way you have put it also in the Office 365, but in a different layout of instruction. But it will deliver the same result for all of you. Due to time constraint, I will not repeat the options. I hope you have gotten it. But if you didn't, if I will find time later, I will repeat that options with all of you. Okay, so that's basically how you do it. Again, you have to get a new rule and be able to create your exemptions. Now, if there are any rules that you have, right? So if in your settings right there, and if you go to view all Outlook settings right there, and if you go to mails, if you go to rules, you will be able to see all the rules. Remember, I created the rule about this, empty employee communication. If you would like to edit that ruling, you could edit. If you wanted to delete the ruling because you say, oh, I should have not created that because I'd rather read all my email, then you could simply just delete it. So this is how you delete an inbox rules. So far, so good. Everybody's okay? Okay, so that's basically creating all of those options, especially about the inbox rules. Okay, now the next options that we have, right, is, let me just close this. So on my list is the plugging an email in Outlook, right? So what do you mean by message plugging, right? When you receive an email message that you need to follow up on, you could plug it as a reminder for you, okay? So you could also send a plug message to other people when you're sending messages. But let me just show you why I like the app sometimes than the regular Office 365. Okay, this is my app, right? Now take a look. You see all of my mail that I have actually pinned and have plugged. I could see it highlighted quickly. Okay, so you could actually be able to view all of them. Anything that you would like to do, plugging a received email. How do you plug a newly received email? So again, I will repeat myself. Plugging a message will identify it for further action by inserting a plug symbol, just like what you see here. Okay, on the right side of it, of your message. Okay, so there are certain things that I don't want to lose. I wanted to go back to it. That's why I plug them. So I have a lot of them. See, I saw that there's a web conference for TWU on Friday, and I wanted to get back to it and read it. So I actually put a plug into it. Okay, so is there a way to create a rule to move an email to a folder after it is read? Sure, you could actually do that. Yes, you just add it to the condition. Remember a while ago when you say, when we are creating the rules, you could have multiple conditions in it. Yes, you could actually do that. So this is like, you see, this is the plugin that I was talking about right here. So, and when you wanted to, when I right click on it, so you wanted to plug it today, tomorrow, or this week, so you could actually keep it plugged for the whole week. So I could just say, this week. Okay, so at least you know it's going to be plugged for the whole week. If I am done with it, right, and if I right click on it and I wanted to clear plug because I have read the email, I have done what's supposed to be done, then what I could actually do is I could clear the plug. You see how it removes the plugging. Again, let me put back the plug. I plug here, plug this message, and also take a look. How do you say, so you may say, well, what if I plug a lot of email already? How will I be able to see all of them so I could review them? Not a problem, because when you are in the filter, I know it was Kevin who was talking about filtering. Yes, Kevin. You see, when you click on filter, there is, you could click on plug. So all of the email that I have plugged will now appear. That's from the people, the subject, when was it plugged, yesterday, I plugged this, last week, this month. So you could actually, what does plugging mean? Okay, let me repeat it. Plugging means when you receive an email that you need to follow up, you're just putting a markation, Kevin, so that you will be reminded. You know how, let's say, oh, this is important, but I do not have time to read it. But I don't want that email to get lost with all the hundreds of email that I will receive. So I would plug it. So when I go back and reopen my email, I will see that it's highlighted. I will can always go back to it, review it, or if it's a project assigned to me, finish the project and then say it's done and close. So It's a way for you to remind you, okay, when you need to follow up on certain email. Okay, so you could plug it as it is like a form of a reminder. Okay. Yeah, some people do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, Kevin. It's usually mark email as unread when I need to remind yourself. Yes, but this is also another way of doing it. You know that you could always go back to it, and you see when I say plug, it will display all of them. Okay. Pinning and plugging. You see this? The pins. This is pinning. Okay. Plugging is the red flag. Pinning will allow me to pin it so that it will always stay on top of my email list. So I would not lose it. It will not blend. You notice some of the things that are plugged, they are still within the dates that I have received them. So, but once I pin it, you notice how it actually move up all the way to the top of my email listing, so I could always get attention. It's easy to be able to trace them back. You see, that's why I like pinning and plugging. Okay, important emails for me. Now, this is easy for. I could easily see it with my apps. In my Office 365, you could still do the plugging right here. If you see that and you say, oh, I wanted to see the plug status, it will now appear. You understand? But only it's not just like the other one that you could immediately see it. So these are the different ways. So all filter, unread mail, plug mail. These are all the plug mail that I have. You see that? So that's how, and then, you could actually the plug status and all of those other options. So you have other, now let me put it back to all mail. Okay, take it out, all mail, and I will go by, take it out the plug status. Okay, oops. And okay, unread mails. There you go. So I have all my unread mails and all of those stuffs. Okay, so you could always change your options. Now, so that's now you have a question. Somebody have asked a question. What's the difference about the focus and others? Okay, so this is focus. This is others. These are like some of this. Not the primary email, like Outlook could filter those like emails coming from FSA are actually called referred to as others. These are the normally sent automatically to multiple people. So those are like others, but focus are important mail that you could see. Yeah, some of them end up, that's why you have to look when they end up in the others email and in the focus email. So that's when somebody tell you that, oh, I sent you something. Oh, you didn't see it. Always look at the others. It might actually be there. Okay. But these are common, you notice these are directed, sent to multiple people, so they go to others. Instead of having it in junk, we don't have the junk. How do I pin an email? Very nice question. Okay, so I'm just going to show you quickly how to pin an email. So for instance, I have an email coming from, okay, this is a good email I could pin because we're following up on my Adobe stock. So my manager is following it up for the thing that I wanted to make sure. So to be able to keep this on top and priority, I could follow up again. You see this when you hover on the email, you see the delete, you say mark as read, and you have the plugging. The last item is like a pin. All you have to do is select pin. You see how it disappeared from the email today, but if I look up, it's all the way on top. And that's how you pin, an email. Got it? Did I answer your questions? Okay, so far so good, right? Now, so I have shown you how to filter. That's also another way of organizing your email and find those emails. Is there a way to have all the other emails to your focus tab? I haven't found out a way to do that. I guess that was already preset and designed by Outlook. So, and I don't think you would also want to have all other emails in your focus tab. Then it will overpopulate, clutter your focus one. I guess it's always good to have the focus, work related, and these are non-work related emails, so I think that for me it's still a good idea, but I'll get to find out and see and research, if there's a way you could avoid that. I'm sure there is a way, but we just have to find out that way. Okay. So let me continue on because I still have some topic that I would like to talk about. How do you delay the delivery of message, right? So if I am on my Office 365, I'm just going to use my Office 365 inbox right now. And I will just filter by the date. Okay, there you go. So I now have by the date and all of my email in here. If I create the delivery of a message, for instance, I would like to send a message to my coworker. New email. That's what you select, correct? And when you select a new email, so let's say I'm just going to put it under one of the computer here in the classroom, and that's Win35. And this is it. And on the email, I would like to remind, my colleague, right, that I reminder about the report. So I would say January report. And then on my email, please be reminded that the end of the month, you know, report is now due. Okay. And then so forth and so on. So now, um, today is the 31st. Okay. But I know she's not around and the person's not around. And I wanted to make sure that tomorrow when they open the mail, this will actually be seen. So I would want this to be a delayed delivery instead of just simply sending it and she will find this in the email today. I will go to options. And in the options, there is on the more options, there you see some of the options here, send item to, delay delivery, and direct. So if I open up the option, it will open the properties dialog box, right? And in here, the delivery options, right? So do not deliver before. So that's what I wanted to do. Do not deliver before. Not today, but tomorrow, February 1st. At what time? Before, I would say, I know the person comes in at 7:30, before 7:30. There you go. So do not deliver before February 1st at 7:30 a.m. Okay. And save copy of sent message to myself. And all I have to do is close this ruling. Okay. So now the delay, you notice delay delivery is now active. And I would simply just send this. Okay. So that's my Win35 January report and it's done. Where did it go? If you look at your outbox, it should be there. Okay. Please remind it's there you go. At 1:40, this email was sent. There you go. So that is still in my outbox. It's not going to be delivered until tomorrow morning. Um, you don't see the option for the 365. Is that your question? Okay, I'll go back to that question in a little bit. Let me just finish the other topic because I might not be able to discuss all of the items right now. But this is where your email. Can I repeat that? Sure, I could always repeat that. So I'm going to create a new email. There you go. And in my new email, again, I will send it to Win35. And let's say this is a meeting reminder. Okay, reminder. And you say, good morning. I would say good morning because I plan to delay the delivery of this. And I would say good morning. Okay, please do not forget, we have a very important meeting, a very important meeting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. And I would put February 1st, 2023. See you then. So I'll just see you. That's done. Now, but I don't want this to be delivered today. So because you might open it and might not be able to see it, tomorrow. So that I wanted to receive the email tomorrow morning. So I go to my options and I go to more options and open up and put do not delivery options, do not deliver before. I will put a check mark. Do not deliver before February 1st. At what time? I know at before 7:30 a.m. Not p.m. but a.m. 7:30 a.m. There you go. Okay. And I close it and that will be the and I send. There you go. So now, where can I find it? It is right there on my outbox. Okay. That's how you could actually be able to delay delivery. Okay, so that's how you delay delivery of your messages. Now, you could also recall messages. If let's say you send an email, okay, I'm going to send another email, Win35, and on my email, I would want to follow up. Please send the memo, okay, today. End of message. Okay, that's a reminder for her. And I send it. Okay, and when I send it, it now goes to the sent item. You see that? There you go. It went there. Please send the memo today. But then I realized I would like to recall this message. Okay, so this is if you now this only works if you and the recipient of the email have Microsoft 365 and we are in the same organization, New York City Transit. You could recall and replace an email. Okay, so in your sent item right there, okay, you double click on that, it will open up. And once you open up, you go to file. And in the info, there you go, you see resend or recall. So if you wanted to recall that email, you could simply say recall this message. However, if you wanted to resend a message, you could also resend a message. Send a message again with the option to update content or change recipient. Especially sometimes we're rushing and you might have forgotten to attach the memo that you want him or her to send. So you could resend the message and it will actually, so if I do that, let me just show you what will happen. Resend this message, it will open up. That will give you enough time to attach a document that you want did miss and then to resend again. So the previous email will be deleted and it will be replaced by this new email. And that's the good thing about recalling. Again, this is also only very good with the Office 365 version of Outlook. Okay. My app can do the delay, but not as great as the Office 365 option. So let me close this. Let me close this. If you are in my app right there and you wanted to have a new mail and you look at your options, you have limited options. So if I'm going to send an email to Office 365 right there, and of course, I would send my email. Notice my only options here is be able to request receipt delivery and read receipt. If I say add, let's say, meeting reminder. Okay, meeting. So I would say meeting rescheduled. Okay, February 1st at 11 a.m. Okay, so now you see scheduled sent. This is the only way to delay the delivery. You indicate here when you want it to be sent, February 1st. At what time? I would say, 7:30. and then you send. So that's the delayed delivery. That's how you do the delayed delivery in using my apps. Okay. Um, so that's basically, what you could actually do. Office 365. Okay, so let me just make sure that I'm able to talk about the things uh that yeah. Okay. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is how to group and ungroup your inbox messages, right? So just like what I said in your, let's just go to this app. Okay. So Microsoft Outlook automatically group item by the date, and you could see it there right there, even in your inbox. Okay. So I'm going to go to my inbox. Okay. Inbox, and there you go. And it is actually grouped by date. Okay. So that's automatically grouping items by date, and that's a fact. However, you could also group items manually by using the standard arrangement or your custom grouping. Just like if you click on the drop down arrow, these are the arrangements that you could do. You could group if it's from, if you prefer to see email coming from, let's say, for instance, okay, and I would say group from, you see how it will sort it alphabetically where it's coming from. You see that? Because it is group from. If you click again here and you say categories, it will do it by category. If you wanted to do it also to do it, see by the flag or the size or the subject, see the different grouping of the subject? They will group it by the subject. So that's what you mean by grouping of messages in your inbox rule. Okay, so those are the grouping. All you have to do in your Office 365 is use this. Okay, and again, put it back to your default, which is by the date. Okay, in your app, of course, so really most of your options here are on the filter that you could see. And in here, you use the sort by options to group them. You sort them by the way you wanted to view it, by the date, from the from, which I showed you earlier, the size, the importance, the subject. Also, the way you wanted to see your email, you wanted to sort them from the oldest on the top or the latest on the top. So those are your options that you could actually use. So those are the different options. So take a look here. So if I sort by the date, which actually what I have right now, I could also sort the from. And there you go. It is going to be arranged alphabetically. And if I wanted, again, you see the sort and I say the importance, okay? And you see all of them that have that important exclamation point when it was, the email was sent to me with importance. And of course, you could also say sort also by the subject. You see, it will also sort it by the subject and always, again, put it back to the date, which is the default options that we have. Another thing I would like to talk about before we're nearing the end, before showing you about scheduling an appointment, is the options that we all have. Like when you are, okay, sending an email, okay? And when you're sending an email under the options, you notice there are other options here. Aside from the delayed delivery, you have a request a delivery receipt and request a read receipt. You know how when you are sending a very important email and you wanted to make sure that you know that the receiver have actually received your email and you will get a notification. So what you do before you send those, if I'm going to say again, I'm going to send to Win35, and again, I would say submit report, and I would say end of message, and I wanted to make sure that she read the message. I would request a delivery receipt, and I would also request a read receipt. And once I send it, right, there you go. And on my sent item, you see that this is to submit report. There you go. And once the Win35 reads it, I will get a notification. I'm sure you have experienced that or have seen that in some of the email that you receive, and you could actually be able to see those options too. Take a look at this. um, and what will happen when it is delivered to the inbox of the person, you will also get notification from Outlook that the message has been delivered. you know See this one, see this, your message has been delivered to the following recipient. You see that? So remember, because what did I do? When I created the email, I requested to be able to request a delivery receipt. And that's the delivery receipt I was talking about. You will get this message that the email had been sent to the person. The important email has been sent to that person. Okay? So that's what it is all about. Now let me continue and talk about the last topic for today, which is basically create or schedule an appointment. What is an appointment? Appointments are activities that you schedule in your calendar that do not involve inviting other people or reserving a resource. It's not a meeting. You're not involving somebody else. It's just an appointment. You can turn an appointment to a meeting by adding an attendee. So how do you create an appointment? Take a look at this is my Office 365. Look on top, you have here at the home, you have new email and new items. If you click on the new items, you see appointments. You see that? So appointments, when you click on appointment, notice that when it opened, this appointment is next to another one on your calendar. It doesn't have the slot for attendees because this is just to create an appointment. Okay, so you wanted to, again, what are appointments? Appointments are activities that you schedule on your calendar that does not involve inviting other people. So let's say you are going to block this for certain activity. Your appointment will be you're going to a computer fair. And so you wanted to block the time because at that time you will be at the computer fair. You could put it in the appointment. Now, so that's basically what it is. Now, another way, if you are, let me just close it. If you are in your app, okay, you see where you have your new mail, and also in your calendar, you could actually click a new event, and that's also an event that you get there, and you could convert it into new email, and you could convert it into what you call um, an appointment, just not to put other people, okay, in it. So you're just going to create a new event, and there you go. And you're just going to schedule without inviting other people. And that's basically the difference between the two. So again, the difference is creating, um, an email or a schedule, a new item, appointments, and you notice that there is no invitation by there. Okay, so that's how you do it. So let's say you will just create an appointment. Let's say you're going to say, attend computer fair. So then you just put the start date and the end time. Let's say it will be tomorrow. Okay, and it will be from 2 to 4. Okay, and you could actually put the location, and then you could save and close this. So let's say the location is just going to make up. I'll have it at the MTA headquarters right there, and that's my location. And all I'm going to have is send it. Okay, or let's say it could be in outer location, so that's not required. My location will be at, let's say it will be at let's say 2 Broadway. Okay, so I would just say to Broadway is my location. Okay, nobody's required, no options required. And all I'm going to do is just send this. And that, okay, that will actually be sent. So when I go to my calendar, and that's your appointment right there. Okay, and that's their appointment. So you could start an appointment, enter the time that you have, you could customize it, you could actually do what you wanted to do in it. Now, the moment you start putting the, you know, um, start putting people in it, then it becomes not as an appointment, but as a meeting invitation. Okay, that's the difference between the two. Okay, so we're almost there on our schedule and on time. We were able to cover and go over the different topics that we're supposed to cover. I will review all the questions that you have submitted. If there's anything I wasn't able to answer, I will send you an email regarding your question. Now, I will share with you this presentation. This contains some of the references that you could use, talking about the different steps as a review of what I have done. And also at the end, if I may ask all of you, okay, I need your input. Okay, if you could do a survey for my managing Outlook, you could use your phone and take a picture of the QR code and respond to it, or I could actually send you this email and give me a couple of days when the attendance report comes out. I will send you this deck, and you could click on Managing Outlook survey. And if you can, please help me, evaluate this session with you today. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, and I'm happy to have all of you. If you have any question, feel free to send me an email, marites.macapagal@nyct.com. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. Until the next class, goodbye.